Hi guys, it's Panelhopper here again, and today we're going to talk about recent changes to Marvel characters. Now I know this is a hot button issue for a lot of people, because people don't like change. Change is scary, and it makes you worry about what the future of these characters that you've loved for decades and decades and have been loved by lots of people for over 50 years, what is their future going to be like? But I'm here to say, as someone who also hates change, that it's going to be okay. The whole reason we still have our Marvel comics and the DC comics is because these things have changed over the decades, and they continue to change. That's why they keep saying, that's why they continue to be popular. So it doesn't matter how much they change. It doesn't matter if Iron Man is a black teenage girl now. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter when Ghost Rider became a Latino teenager who drives a muscle car instead of a motorbike. It didn't matter when the Ultimate Spider-Man became black, because change is a part of what keeps these characters relevant. So the best example I can think of this is what's called the sliding scale. Now in the Marvel universe, and to a lesser extent in the DC universe, all the events in the last 70 years of published comics happen on a sliding scale. That is, everything that you've ever read, from issue 1 of X-Men in 1963 to the most recent issue, all of that happened within like a 10 to 20 year period. And where that 10 to 20 year period takes place in time, relative to the present day, simply changes the further on you get. So for example, if you're trying to piece together the life of someone like Wolverine or Scott Summers, a principal X-Men member, then the events of the first issue of X-Men, although they were published in 1963, 50 years ago, because Scott Summers looks to be about in his mid-30s, to them, in the Marvel Universe, that took place in the early 80s. So, and that piece of knowledge, which is kind of a hidden secret of the comic book industry, that should give you a sense that even though lots of things about these characters can seem sacrosanct, the canon of these comics is, like all canon, considered to be sacred to some people. It's always been shifting, because the world as it is now is not the world as it was in 1963. Comic books are different, society is different, what we consider acceptable for an entertainment medium like comics is completely different. Don't forget that when comics started in the 50s and 40s and right up to the 80s, there was the Comics Code, which forbade violence and forbade negative influences toward children, and when it was done away with, we got masterpieces like Watchmen. You know, change is a part of this industry, it keeps it vital. So I think everyone should just try and remember that. Remember, when you're thinking about, oh, Tony Stark, I'm going to miss Tony Stark so much. What's it going to be like without him as Iron Man? Just think about the fact that when Tony Stark first appeared, he was a Vietnam veteran, and then in the Marvel Universe movies, he was taken hostage in Afghanistan. So he went from being taken hostage as a businessman in Vietnam to being taken hostage in Afghanistan, are two totally separate wars with totally separate social connotations to our real world, and he's managed to fit into both of them. Because the people who write comics aren't just reiterating on the same stuff over and over, they're always adding something new. So it's important not to freak out about it too much. And as a side note to all of this, I would say that it's important, especially when you see changes in a character's ethnicity or gender, it's important to remember that these characters aren't just their gender, and they're not just their ethnicity. It doesn't matter whether Miles Morales is Spider-Man or Peter Parker is Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is not a gender. Spider-Man is not a... Well, Spider-Man is a gender. That perhaps that's a bad example, but Spider-Man is not an ethnicity. Because as long as Spider-Man is a man with spider powers, then he is Spider-Man. he might be a slightly different interpretation, but the things people love about Spider-Man, the humour, the confidence as juxtaposed with the nerdiness, all of that stuff would hopefully still remain the same. And usually it does. So I think it's just really important when we think about the way comic books change and have changed over the decades that we just try and stay calm and not be freaking out all the time. Okay? Okay guys, I'll see you later. Bye.